it is very important and vital to have a demonstration garden because one, there is I don't know whether to call it propaganda or whatever, that if you farm using organic methods, you are likely to get less yield or less production and so on and so on. But I mean, you can see everything you see here is grown 100% organic, no synthetic inputs or whatsoever. So this is what we call the straight beds. We demonstrating to the farmers that and teach them part of the agroecology training that for you to get best yields out of your agroecology, you have to utilize the topsoil. So these beds that you see, I'm sure it's quite unfamiliar to most of you, this kind of farming. So we encourage them to actually make use of the topsoil, unlike tilling with the tractor, because what the tractor does is that it takes the soil and the topsoil under and take the undersoil, which is less nutrition. So this is how we teach them, and then we teach them to intercrop, have a variety of plants in your garden. One, to promote the biodiversity. Two, to also make you less vulnerable to pests and diseases, because pests are what we call specialists or agents. So what does that mean? It means that pests that normally feed on cabbage are less likely to be eating spinach and other things. So to have a diverse crops in your garden is actually very beneficial. So we are now going to move to our second composting factory, and I think this is where, whether you believe in science or in religion, we can all agree that life starts at the soil. So soil is a massive vital component. So it is very important for one to make sure that you take out their soil, make their soil more nutrition so that you can get better yields. This is what we encourage people to do. Make their own compost using organic material, food waste, and so on and so on. But the most important ingredient is animal manure. But you have to now find the balance by balancing it, because animal manure, especially cow dung, is quite rich in nitrogen. That's true. Any science people can attest to that?
We trust you.
You trust me? All right. Cool. So you try to balance the nitrogen contents by adding more organic material on it. And there, as you can see, it is at its early stages. At its early stages, I think after a couple of days, when you do it, it's important to insert the rod down there. Then this rod is actually going to be used as a thermometer for you to know that this compost is now cooking and it's coming alright. The iron rod is the one that's going to take my temperature. So if it's cooking very well, I shouldn't be able to hold this and count for more than 10 times. But it seems like this was some work to do. Yeah. And then this is when the compost is ready for use. Ready for use. From here it goes into the fields. And then we encourage people, we want people to make use of compost and shy away from synthetic use. But sometimes that becomes a challenge, because compost, for example, number one, it's labor intensive, it's long.
People want a quick fix.
Want a quick fix, you know. And as much as we appreciate also the government's effort for food security and everything, like we understand the government's mandate for food security, but you know, farmers having access to the synthetic use, and then they get to compare to make compost or to use synthetic manure that I got perhaps subsidized or helped by the government, and then that's where now it tends to become difficult. But there are some who are actually buying in and doing it on a smaller scale.
Yes. So I just wanted to add, I was explaining to the Deputy Minister before everyone arrived that you will see that at every station we have a grade that's allocated to the station. And that's because through the initial project we were also able to develop a manual, what we call ICAM, which is integrated CAPS curriculum in agroecology, where the kids are able to do practicals for their different subjects in the garden. So they're currently using it for mathematics, English, natural sciences,
and life sciences.
Yes.
Oh, it's still the
So
same thing.
for instance, it's also about learning by doing, not just linking it to the actual subjects, but they also, like now, grade 7s are at the station. So the grade 7s are the custodians of this section. When we were here the other time, they were telling us that the kids, the grade 7 kids, are the ones who are checking if the compost is ready. They feel the rod isn't ready, so they also get to adopt these practices. And what we do, this is movable. So then we rotate it around the garden. So by the end of the term, each of the grades would have had different parts of the garden that they will be learning from.
Practical learning.
Very much.
Thank you.
Shall we move to your next station?
Interesting.
Great beds that I talked of earlier here, there's just quite a lot happening. So what we are trying to do here is to mimic the natural environment. Because in the natural environment, no one goes to prune and water those trees and everything, but wild berries, wild fruits, I mean every year, every season, it just keeps happening on its natural. So we have created this system where we have planted diverse fruit trees. As they are going to grow, they are going to go through that natural cycle, mimicking the natural environment in the wilderness.
To say that it just looks drier than the rest of the, but it's intentionally so that it sustains itself. And so the plan is that eventually these trees will grow and the leaves will drop and they'll become mulch, and then they'll also create shade for the mandala part of this of the garden. So it's not neglected, it's an organized mess.
It's sustainable. So we usually recommend this kind of agriculture for people who don't have time. I'd like to imagine the minister's been into 6 provinces in a week. I imagine you don't have time to sit in a house. So for a more sustainable, yeah.
Oh, my wife's very beautiful.
Yeah, so this kind of system is more self-sustainable for people who are actually and what you see this side, I can imagine most of you are curious by just looking at the places. This is where we demonstrated the permaculture. The ideal or circular shape that you see here is what we call a mandala garden. So its significance, circular shape significance, is for water retention. 1, 2 is so that it can accommodate more, you get more use of your land than normal. So if we were to put this in straight beds, they wouldn't fit as much as in a radial shape. And I think one other reason is to just beautify and make people curious when they see what is this? So yeah, this is when like farmers who perhaps have spaces where limited spaces, or perhaps where in their croplands where it's not accessible for a tractor or whatsoever, we encourage them to make use of that space using this circular shape, because it's not always circular. Sometimes you can have the half moons, sometimes you can have small circles and so on and so on, just to utilize more space. Thank you.
Wow.
Is that mint?
This is mint.
How do you manage it overgrowing in terms of the roots?
In terms of the roots, so it's actually good when it overgrows if you have not planted anything there, because it loosens your soil and improves microorganisms activity in the soil. But if you perhaps use synthetic manure, because synthetic manure makes the soil much harder, it's going to be difficult for you to take them out. But because we are applying compost here, if I want to take this out, without even pulling a muscle, the soil will leaves. And if you could see now, it leaves the soil much more soft, and so it's actually good. And the reason why we have herbs in the garden, for obvious reasons, to be used as pest repellents. Thank you.
You know, they say many of our illnesses are caused by the food we eat and the air we breathe. Besides hereditary illnesses, but the food you eat and the air you... Now the food with all the fertilizer and the synthetic and the rubbish that's in there, I mean, cancer. I mean, we didn't hear of cancer before, but now every second, third person has got some form of cancer. Renal failure, that's because of the synthetic medicines that they are taking, you know. So, you know, we're killing ourselves because we're not being responsible. We're not listening to nature. We're not going back to Mother Earth and say, you know what, you produced all of this for us, now let us consume it as you produced it and not... But we do it, we cause ourselves problems.
We are wiser.
Yeah.
We are killed by our living.
Which one? Which one?
Oh, I see. You want them to
Lizard
thrive, yeah.
Hotel,
Lizard.
5-star hotel.
Yeah.
Okay.
All the geckos.
We intentionally packed these rocks here so that it can become a home for lizards of different sizes and shapes, so that the lizards can help by eating the pests and insects that go and destroy the crops. So the lizards go into the garden and feast, and then they come back and chill here. So it's part of the garden being a sustainable.
Wow.
And it really is true. I think if we were to unpack, we'll find quite a lot of lizards here.
How big a hotel do you need? 5-star hotel.
Now tell me, where did you clever people get all this knowledge? Is it from Goko or from who or who? Because they've got the best.
Most definitely the use of indigenous knowledge systems, because organic farming, agroecology farming, actually, it's not something that it's a concept. It's not a new concept that's starting now. It's something that have been practiced way before.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So your indigenous knowledge systems are just... There's going to be a conference in November where there's a spiritual leader, activist sort of called Mohanji. And they're bringing, is it 12 or 12? 12 traditional leaders, healers from around the world. Right, from Brazil, and those that live in the real forest, that have the real knowledge. So they're coming together for a few days in Cape Town. We're going to the launch of this. But you know, that kind of knowledge is so important.
Yeah.
And the oral history, the other day I was with somebody that was, I said, you know, this oral history is just so important. But we don't pass it down. I said to the president in a meeting that we had the other day, and all the cabinet ministers were there, about training. We want to train the youth in agriculture. I said, don't waste your time training youth. Go to the Gogos, the 50 years old, and
learn.
And teach them these new tricks that you know that will improve crops. They will bring the children in. All of us are where we are because of our mothers and fathers and grandfathers. They said, do that, plant this, eat that. And that's how you gain knowledge. But we want to teach the kids who want to only be on their cell phones. I spoke yesterday at Northwest University. They want to be on their cell phones. How are you? This, that. I'm going, which disco, this, that. You're not going into the internet to see what opportunities there are for young people. And there are so many opportunities, even from the side of government. Training opportunities, other opportunities, financing opportunities. No, Anyway, this is great.
So, Minister, it means from here, from the naming of this hotel, you said your wife has got a wonderful car.
God, now I'm gonna
You must go and
The only geckos I see is in my bedroom sometimes when I look up like
this
that.
knowledge, you must take it to your home.
Sometimes it's on my face.
You can also, instead of a lizard hotel, do a bee hotel.
Okay.
Also helps with pollination.
Oh, a bee hotel can work as well. Eh? Wow, what? For the first time.
Very important.
So you keep them in the hotel. Why must they visit anyone? They'll stay there 5-star.
5-star hotel.
5-star hotel.
You need to go and build that 5-star hotel. Wow.
They wanted us to assist the Gogos who are farming on the wetlands.
Yes.
They are farming the Madumbe and the taro plant. And they were like, imagine. And then when we got there,